Elon Musk is expected to meet the Indian space companies when he visits India next week. Startups said that they have received requests from the government to save the date for a meeting with Musk in New Delhi on 22nd of April. The startups include the likes of Skyroot Aerospace, Agnikul Cosmos, Bellatrix Aerospace and Dhruva Space. Now, Musk's schedule during his visit to India, which is expected to last only about 48 hours, will also include meeting Prime Minister Modi. The meeting with space startups comes on the back of the fact that Modi government is tweaking policy to further open the space industry to private companies, and the success of India's national space program after launching a spacecraft to the moon's south pole just last year. Now, Musk's visit could also pave way for SpaceX and Starlink, as well as Tesla's entry into India for the first time. Of course, the itinerary is being planned. It's much awaited. Karthik Malhotra here with me. Karthik, Elon Musk's visit is not going to be only linked to Tesla, but also Starlink.
Absolutely. And Starlink, of course, is, as we know, a 100% subsidiary of SpaceX, which is Elon Musk's flagship program of reusable rockets going into outer space and actually coming back and landing back safely, thereby reducing the cost of space exploration drastically. Because up until SpaceX arrival, you only had rockets on a one-way ticket. They would go to the space and then they would become part of the space debris. Now, SpaceX has innovated these reusable rockets which can actually go to the space and come back. And this sort of frugal sense of innovation is pretty similar to what India's own ISRO does and what Indian startups are likely to help both ISRO as well as global players, including SpaceX, to try and arrive at and achieve. Now, Indian startups have actually been fairly instrumental in India's own ISRO missions, whether it was Chandrayaan-3 last year, which you mentioned, or even Gaganyaan, which is slated for later this year, if not early next year, which is going to be India's first manned mission. And this is going to actually send 3 Air Force officers, astronauts pretty much in training right now, to outer space, and God willing, obviously, we all pray that they come back safely. So this is going to be India's pretty much, first mission of a reusable sort of, a spacecraft going up and coming back. So I think this entire thing comes on the back of the kind of tweakings that you mentioned, which have happened in space exploration policy. It started in 2022.
Timing is quite interesting, the notification of those tweaks just a week ahead of Musk's visit.
Sure, I mean, no doubt, notification is interesting, but the roots of this can be traced back to 2022. So in 2022, for the first time, the Indian government opened up space exploration to the private sector. And that led to the kind of boom that we are seeing in startups, including the ones you mentioned, Skyroot, Dhruva, Pixel, etc., which are now very heavily invested into space exploration, at least space tech, if not their own rockets and not their own machinery being used as the propellers and as the sort of vehicle which gets launched, but at least the robotics inside it, the technology inside it, all of that getting very well channelized with the 2022 policy of opening up space to the private sector. Now what we're talking about, the tweaking which has happened in the month of February, which got notified just 2 days back, was this FDI opening up. So now there are 3 specific categories to foreign direct investment coming into the space sector. And the timing of that, like you mentioned, is obviously very interesting, just days ahead of Elon Musk's visit. Number 1 is satellite manufacturing. So FDI has been notified now at 74%. So that means any foreign company can invest and hold up to 74% of any company which manufactures satellites in India. Now, 49% is for other space launch vehicles. So foreign companies can own 49% in an Indian company which is literally making launch vehicles. And these are the GSATs and the GSLVs, etc., which are the launch vehicles which actually go into outer space. And there is now 100% FDI permitted on components, manufacturing components that go into any sort of space exploration, space visits, space travel, or any launch vehicle. So the components that go into it, as well as the systems, the IT, the technology, the software that goes into making these systems operate well in outer space, are now likely to get up to 100% of FDI.
Absolutely, and these changes come quite in line with the fact that Elon Musk is here. Are we going to see some sort of investment interest perhaps also? What's the need to meet startups? Does it stem from the fact that he wants to understand where Indian space startup industry is at the moment, or is he trying to evince some interest?
To my limited understanding, and the government as well as Elon Musk's offices have been fairly guarded right now on what is being requested for and what is being offered, and what is the real agenda of these 48 hours or so of the meeting. As I understand right now, the government has sent invites to Indian startups, perhaps not at the behest of Elon Musk himself. So it may not be an initiative initiated by Elon Musk, but perhaps by the government of India, by ISRO, to showcase India's startup space tech prowess, and in addition to that, maybe get Elon Musk to understand that there are investment opportunities outside of Tesla's manufacturing, outside of just Starlink's satellite communication, and into space exploration, which synergizes very well with SpaceX itself.
All right, and this comes, of course, days ahead of that crucial visit of Elon Musk, which is likely to happen either 21st or 22nd or 23rd of April, just next week. A red carpet of sorts has been rolled out for Tesla's chief, who will, of course, also be meeting Prime Minister Modi here in India.